Amelia pressed her lips gently to my cheek, leaving a fleeting warmth. Just a short getaway with friends, she whispered, her smile as flawless as always, one I'd seen 1,000 times. I nodded silently, my gaze trailing her as she tugged her luggage toward the exit. She believed her tale was airtight, that I'd be waiting when she returned. She was wrong. The instant the door snapped shut, I exhaled a breath I hadn't known I was holding. For months, I'd noticed her secretive late-night texts, the extra effort in her appearance on specific days, the friend gatherings and work events that always carried a hint of a fragrance that wasn't mine. Amelia hadn't been discreet. She didn't think she needed to be. That was her fatal mistake. I'd confirmed her deception weeks earlier, not through a private investigator, but by piecing together her inconsistencies. Her trip wasn't with friends. She was headed to a luxurious resort 2 states away, meeting him, completely unaware that I knew and oblivious to my intentions. I opened my phone's notes app. Every move was calculated, every detail carefully planned. I'd already separated our finances, redirected my income, and untangled our shared accounts. My name was off the rental agreement. All utilities and subscriptions were now hers alone. Every service I once paid for gone. When she returned, she'd find not just an empty apartment, but a void where my presence once lingered. I moved through the space with deliberate calm. My clothes, shirts, suits, and the faded jacket she often wore were packed. In the bathroom, I gathered my razor, my cologne, even the toothbrush stashed in a drawer. The fridge no longer held my groceries. Half the furniture, rightfully mine, was already removed. The TV, my gaming console, even the espresso machine she relied on daily. All mine. By the time I was done, the apartment felt like a show home, cold and impersonal, as if I'd never been part of it. A glance at my phone showed her check-in at the Seaside Oasis Resort. Oblivious, she had no clue her world was about to shift. I placed the apartment key on the counter, gave the space a final glance, and walked out. No note, no message, no dramatic farewell, just absence. She thought she could betray me and still rely on my steadfastness, my dependability. She misread me completely. As the door closed behind me, I felt a weight lift, like breathing clean air after being trapped in a stifling room. The evening sun cast golden light across the parking lot as I approached my car. This wasn't a spontaneous decision. I hadn't acted impulsively or out of fear. Every step was intentional, calculated. The key on the counter was the last remnant of me. Every other connection to that life was severed. She wouldn't be able to contact me. She wouldn't know where I'd gone. That was by design. Behind the wheel, I took one last look at the apartment. Memories lingered, shared laughter, intimate moments, everyday routines, but those had faded long ago, eroded by her betrayal. The walls were never the heart of our home. That was the trust, the honesty. Both were gone. I checked my phone again. Another update. Amelia Carter checked in. I smirked. She truly thought she'd gotten away with it, probably sipping a drink by the pool, sending me brief texts between stolen moments with him. She believed she still had control, that I'd always be her safety net, her fallback. But I'd stepped out of that role. She was about to discover how completely. I drove to my new apartment, a 1-bedroom, light-filled, pristine, and mine alone. No traces of deception lingered in its corners, no echoes of a past life. The lease bore only my name. The key felt cool in my hand. Stepping inside, it wasn't just a fresh start. It was a reclamation of myself. That night, as I unpacked in my new space, my phone buzzed. Amelia. Thinking of you already. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. Can't wait to be back. The audacity of it made me laugh softly. She was likely lounging in a plush robe, feet dipped in the pool, sending that message to maintain her facade, still believing I was clueless. I didn't reply. There was no need. Reality would soon overtake her. I turned off my phone, poured a drink, and sank onto the couch. For the first time in what felt like forever, I was at peace, truly free. Amelia's heels echoed down the hallway as she returned, her suitcase rolling behind her. The weekend had been perfect in her mind. Opulence, excitement, the thrill of her secret. She hadn't spared much thought for me. I was just a constant, the one she could always return to. She reached the door, phone in hand, already drafting a casual text to explain her absence. But as she stepped inside, her fingers froze. Something felt wrong. The air was unfamiliar, sterile. No trace of my presence remained. The walls seemed bare, stripped of warmth. She moved cautiously, leaving her suitcase by the door, a growing unease tightening in her chest. Something was missing. Everything was missing. The truth hit her like a wave. The couch was still there, but the room felt alien. The coffee table was empty, no scattered papers, none of my usual clutter. The blanket I always used during movie nights was gone. A shaky laugh escaped her as she turned toward the bedroom. "Nathan," she called, half expecting me to appear with a dry quip, but the silence was heavy, suffocating. It swallowed her voice. Her heart raced as she entered the bedroom, and the reality struck her like a blow. The closet was nearly bare. My shirts, jeans, even the sneakers I kept spotless, gone. The drawers where I stored my watch and wallet were empty, as were the frames that once held our photos, the ones she dusted just days before. Panic surged as she rushed to the bathroom, pulling open drawers and cabinets. Nothing. My razor, my toothbrush, the cologne she once teased me about, all vanished. She stumbled back, her breath shallow, her pulse pounding. She grabbed her phone, scrolling frantically. No new messages from me. No missed calls. With trembling fingers, she dialed my number. One ring, two, then voicemail. No, this can't be happening, she thought, trying again. Voicemail. Dread consumed her. She hurried to the kitchen, rifling through mail, bills, anything with my name. But there was nothing, not a single trace of me. I hadn't just left. I'd erased myself entirely. Amelia gripped the counter, her legs unsteady. The apartment, once alive with our shared routines, felt foreign, hollow. She could hardly breathe. She opened her phone again, scrolling through old messages. Just last week, I'd texted. "Want me to grab anything from the market?" So normal, so dependable, so me. But now I was gone, and that steadiness felt like something she'd taken for granted until it disappeared. Voicemail. She sent a text, fingers shaking. "Nathan, what's happening? Where are you? Call me." She stared at the screen, waiting for a sign, a read receipt, a response, anything. Nothing. It lingered, unanswered, like a ghost. She wasn't used to being ignored. Amelia always knew how to twist the narrative, to bend it in her favor. But this was unfamiliar ground. She tore through the apartment, opening drawers, checking cabinets, searching for proof I hadn't truly left. But every sign confirmed the same truth. I had removed myself from her life. Even the streaming accounts were inaccessible. Her name alone remained on the lease. She felt herself unraveling. The cold fear seeping through her was more than guilt. It was loss. I must have known. Of course I had. I'd been planning this, observing her, waiting, letting her believe she could keep it all together. She sank onto the couch, hands pressed to her face, trying to make sense of it. How long had I been preparing? All those moments I stayed quiet, never pushing back. That wasn't indifference. It was strategy. Her phone buzzed. Her heart jumped. A text from Claire. Amelia barely registered, responding. "How was your trip?" Claire asked, unaware. "Good." Amelia lied, her voice tight. Claire chattered on, lunch plans, a party, but Amelia couldn't focus. She stared at the barren walls, the empty corners. Her stomach twisted. "Nathan's gone," she blurted, interrupting Claire. A pause. "What do you mean gone?" Amelia's grip on the phone tightened. "I mean he left. Took everything. Cancelled it all. Like he was never here." Her voice cracked. "He's just gone." Claire gasped quietly. "So he knows." Amelia didn't answer right away. Admitting it made it real. She scanned the room again. The stark emptiness. The silence was louder than any argument they'd ever had. I'd left without a word, without a confrontation, just a quiet, intentional departure. Claire's voice softened. "This is serious." "You think?" Amelia muttered, scrolling through old texts, searching for something to hold on to. Nothing. No response, just the void of my absence. "Maybe you just need time," Claire said, her words hollow. Amelia let out a bitter laugh. "This wasn't impulsive. He planned it. Waited until I was away. Made sure I couldn't stop him." Claire hesitated. So what now? Amelia stood, pacing like a caged animal. I have to find him. Talk to him. He can't just vanish. He owes me that. Claire's voice was soft but firm. I don't think he does. Maybe he realized he didn't owe you anything. Maybe he was done with the deception. Maybe he knew you wouldn't change. Amelia froze, her stomach churning. I was her rock, her constant. I wasn't supposed to leave. Then her phone buzzed. A text. Her breath caught. She opened it. Message failed to send. You've been blocked. Her vision blurred, her hands numb. I wasn't waiting. I wasn't coming back.